Hello there, my name's Card. I'm a long-time progressive community organiser and activist, and here on my YouTube page, I like to make short, simple videos about topics that interest me. A little while ago now, I did a video where I talked about why Kyle Rittenhouse, the 2020 Kenosha unrest vigilante, was morally in the wrong. And that boiled down to the fact you shouldn't go out looking for fights. You shouldn't be willing to fatally shoot someone over a suburban parking lot, and you shouldn't seek to enrich yourself off of a shooting you're involved in, or seek to glorify your actions after the fact. I stand by all that, and I'll also link that video at the top of the description for the sake of anyone who might want to see it. But today, I just want to talk for a little bit about what an actually morally sound instance of fatal self-defense looks like. So a little bit of background here. There's this true news story that gets passed around from time to time in a lot of left-leaning circles. In early 2022, Mr. John Kozwanski, a Florida State Board of Administration official, that basically means one of Ron DeSantis's personal bureaucrats, got into a suburban road rage incident with a Prius driver on his way back home from work. Now, by all accounts, Kozwanski, a lifelong GOP apparatchik, had a long history of road rage, outbursts, and like any proud Republican Florida man, was a big fan of guns and bringing guns with him everywhere he went. But one unassuming day, Kozwanski has a minor fender bender with another driver, and they both stop their cars, naturally, and agree to pull into a nearby parking lot to properly exchange details and do all the normal things you have to do after an accident like that. But this is where Kozwanski's history of road rage comes back in, and right in the middle of this suburban parking lot, he decides to restart his BMW and ram it full speed directly into the front of the stopped Prius with its owner still inside. Then, Kozwanski pulls out a sidearm and just starts mag dumping right into the other guy's windscreen. Now, this easily could have become an unnecessary tragedy. But here's the really interesting part. The Prius driver miraculously has the wherewithal, after being suddenly rammed at high speed head-on, to climb into the back of his car, get out through a back door, then he crouches down behind a now open door, pulls out his own gun, and fires back exactly one shot at Kozwanski, hitting him right between the eyes and killing him instantly. Shortly thereafter, the cops are called and they review local security camera footage and get the full story of what happened, and no charges are laid against the Prius driver. Now, whenever this story circulates around lefty spaces, it's become commonplace to refer to the Prius driver as the liberal driller, playing off the fact he was driving a stereotypically liberal car and the fact he astonishingly kept his composure and reacted so decisively under extreme sudden circumstances. But, all jokes aside, I wanted to use this story to illustrate a couple of things in particular, because there's this very incorrect idea floating around online that we hardline progressives are anti-gun or anti-self-defense. But that's not actually the case. And again, here we have a very instructive case study in exactly what morally sound self-defense looks like, and why we have no problem applauding the actions of someone in a situation like this. For one thing, the liberal driller, if you really want to call him that, didn't go out intentionally looking for trouble, especially in contrast to something like the Rittenhouse shooting, going out with a gun solely or primarily for the purposes of essentially trying to bait someone into instigating an unnecessary fight so you have a credible self-defense situation where you have a gun and can kill someone, is bad. But that's not what happened here. This was a bona fide instance of a responsible gun owner, the Prius driver, doing nothing to put themselves into a dangerous situation needlessly. For another thing, I think the fact we don't even know the guy's name belies a very important aspect of the whole incident. Unlike, again, say Rittenhouse, the Prius driver here didn't try to subsequently sell himself as some sort of media figure or a vigilante, and he didn't try to launch an influencer or commentator career off the back of it all. He simply had a gun and was prepared and able to use it when a situation that demanded it arose. It's a situation that I think any sensible progressive ought to be completely fine saying is what good, fatal self-defense looks like. Now, As I alluded to earlier, this story gets retold in a lot of lefty circles quite frequently. And usually it's being told almost as a jokey comedy story, because it's about a GOP bureaucrat getting himself killed by starting a gunfight he was 100% in the wrong on. But all that aside, I think there might still be something to be said for having an appropriate solemnness with regards to events like this. The man killed in this situation was not very sympathetic, and he was asking for it. But I have to think it's got to be bad for you on some level to start being too celebratory for the deaths of people, however unsympathetic they were. Yes, John Kozwanski, the deceased BMW road rage GOP guy, was bad. But don't debase yourself just for the sake of dunking on his corpse. It's just something to reflect on. Thanks for listening, and if you might want to hear more from me, feel free to subscribe to this YouTube page, or just take a look at my other videos. Either way, goodbye for now, and have a lovely day.